today near the junction of Washington and Liberty Streets, not far from Fort Stanwix, the only fort never to fall during the British in the war over taxes and suffocating government. I'd like to start this with a quote from Sam Adams. "If ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us in peace. Crouch down, lick the hand that feeds you, may your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity ever forget that ye were our countrymen." 1776. Harsh words, but nonetheless true, and quite possibly, considering the direction our country is headed, even more true today. Crouch down, be apathetic, take your government handout, and then try to figure out how you're going to tell your kids and your grandkids that you had a chance to stop the eroding of our freedoms, a chance to stop the politicians from spending the wealth of unborn generations and enslaving them to an ever-growing and greedy government of career politicians. What excuse could possibly be good enough? What rationale to justify your apathy? If you consider yourself well-informed and educated about current American and world situation, and you still do nothing, you are the problem. If you are aware of the cap and trade bill, or crap and trade, but didn't call your public servant to complain about it, once again, you are the problem. Take a stand, call your representatives, advise them how you feel about legislation, hold them accountable if they don't do the people's will. The government counts on apathy to forward their agenda. A British politician was once accused of running around the countryside inciting apathy. Sounds like an oxymoron, but it's exactly what our politicians have been doing in this country. Don't worry about anything. We'll take care of it all for you. You won't have to make pesky decisions like, make that house payment, we're going to do that for you now, or that car payment. You can trade in that old clunker and the people are going to pay for it. How about your health care? No problem. One size fits all, except for all you old people out here. Or maybe you people that aren't so well. Maybe you should consider cheaper, less effective treatments. Maybe even none at all, just for the good of the country. Come on, be patriotic, be a good American, huh? Yep, that's where it's headed. Just remember Thomas Jefferson's words, any government big enough to give you everything is also big enough to take it back. And Don Jeror's words, and don't think they aren't going to come knocking on your damn door to do it. Taxes are just a symptom of a bigger problem. Big government's complete disregard for the Constitution. Recently, a test for training purposes was released by the DOD at the Pentagon. They asked the question, which of these is an example of low-level terrorism? Of the multiple choice answers, the correct one, shockingly, was protesting. Listen, I'm not a constitutional lawyer like Mr. Obama, but I'm pretty sure that protesting is a protected right, not terrorism. Must have been awkward when we had to come out watching the Iranian protesters shout in the street to say they had a right to protest. We've got a president that took office, complained about all the problems he has inherited. Listen, my take is, if you spent $250 million, if you've been campaigning for a year, if you lied, cheated, talked to hundreds of thousands of people, shook hands, were on TV every damn day, you didn't inherit anything. Nothing, nobody died. Nobody died, left you the problems. You knew what those problems were, you begged for those problems, you pleaded for those problems. So Mr. President, shut up and do your damn job. Another example is, you can't waterboard terrorists, but we can abort thousands of babies every year in this country. What's wrong with that picture? I ask you, which is more immoral? To waterboard somebody who's attacked America, who's a terrorist, or to let thousands of people possibly die because you sat there and did nothing? Or is it more immoral to try to reduce carbon in the air by breaking the backs of future generations of Americans by implementing draconian regulations and taxes on American businesses and citizens in an unproven science, and by suppressing information that doesn't agree with their point of view? I'd like you to go home and think about these things and the other things you're going to hear about today. It is in the nature of government to swell and grow bloated on the fruits of the labors of its citizens. But the time comes when its citizens have to lance the putrid, infected mass of overgrown government. There are a few ways to do just that. Number one, you can excise the whole mass by removing it in the area around it. Usually a bloody and messy result. Number two is you can cover it with salve and hope it goes away, which seems to be the current approach, and I think most of us would agree it's just not working. Or number three, you can surgically lance it, precisely draining away the infection without doing permanent damage to the rest of the area. This is the right approach, I believe. We need good people to help us drain Washington and Albany wounds. We need good men and women to stand up and take the place of these career politicians. Is it you? Is it you over there? How about you in the back? It's time that you stood up and let yourself be heard. Be a part of something bigger than you. Can you help America or New York State? Can you make a difference? You're already started just by being here today, and I thank you for it. You can be one of the founding fathers of the next generation. You can help save America and the American way of life. Please consider it. It'll be well worth your while. Thank you, and God bless America.